Hi, my name is Ollie Hart and welcome to my presentation for the first testing process for my master's dissertation. This presentation is a briefing video in which I'm going to talk to you about the 3 stages of my questionnaire. I'll start by explaining a bit about my project and then I'll talk you through the models used upon which my dissertation investigation is based. So my dissertation is about interactive narratives. I'm going to be looking at narratives in games that are story-like. I'm looking at the different models available for classifying these games, 2 in particular. One is by Espen Aarseth and another is by Crawford. He doesn't have a model as such, but he does have views on each of the 4 dimensions of Aarseth's model that I'm going to be talking about. Both of these theorists think their model fits everything, it fits all games that are story-like. However, I disagree, and the hypothesis of my investigation thinks that this isn't true, and I'm looking at generating a different model for each genre of game. So I'm going to be looking at the different genres of games that you guys come up with today. Your favourite games today, I'm going to look at what makes these games work for you, how they can be improved, and overall I'm looking to make better games. So today I'm going to start by debriefing you. This investigation is entirely confidential. You'll be helping with my MSc dissertation, so cheers for that. And the results will be made available publicly, but no participants are going to be individually recognisable, so it's all confidential for you. So I'll start by typecasting you into a player type. I'm going to be talking about Richard Bartle. A while ago he wrote an article called Players That Suit Muds, and in this article he identifies 4 different player types who play multi-user dungeons. He later expanded this to cover a whole range of games, multiplayer games, and then later expanded on his model as well. He invented a 3D model with 8 player types. However, this doesn't work well on paper, and by simplifying it using his earlier 4 player model, it's still relevant for the purposes of this investigation, so I'm going to be using that today. There's 4 player types: achievers, socializers, explorers, and killers. So achievers, they like to achieve goals set for them by either the game, other players, or themselves. This might involve experience gathering, point gathering, or levelling up. They might amass items such as gold, anything they can count or achieve. A lot of games nowadays include pre-built achievements set by the game, that they can share with their friends on either the Xbox Live Network or even PlayStation Network with the trophies. Socializers. These players get enjoyment from talking to other people. They like to form relationships within the world. They'll form relations with other NPCs. They like talking to people. And interactivity is key. They like being interactive with the world, with the environment, and with other players as well. Explorers. These people like to look at the underlying game mechanics. They like to perhaps bug hunt, or they might purposely try and break the game just to look at the underlying mechanics of it. They might explore the world of the game and spend time exploring the environment for things that other people may miss. And finally, killers. These are the PvPers of the world. PvP is a core part of the game to them. They like to kill other players for fun. They might grief other players, power abuse, or impose themselves on other players by forcing them to perform menial tasks or stopping them from entering certain areas, things like that. They'll spend time killing other players, or even NPCs. They'll like to kill NPCs, grind, that sort of thing. So the second part of the questionnaire focuses on these 2 models. I'm going to be looking at Espen Aarseth and Crawford. Today we're going to be focusing on Aarseth's model. So this is Aarseth's model for classifying games that are story-like. It's split into 4 columns here: world, objects, agents, which is characters, and then events. And he says that these are the 4 things that make up games design and narratology. So he's looking to classify all stories within games. So looking at the world column, this is pretty self-explanatory. If your favourite game is inaccessible, the world, say such as Pac-Man, it might be a single room, something like that, or an open landscape like a sandbox game. That ranges on that scale there. Next is objects. Objects within the game. They range from non-interactable to static, but you can use them, modifiable items, creatable items, all the way up until inventable items. You're able to create your own items, such in games such as maybe Second Life, although some people argue that's not a game. Third column, agents. This is the character. So we're looking at either deep, rich, round characters. These are the ones with full backstory, you know everything about them, they might have a, you know, mysterious past that you want to find more about. Shallow flat characters, these are characters that serve a purpose, but you don't really get to find anything about them or their backstory, they're just there to serve a purpose. And finally, bots, NPCs, no individual identities. Take a game such as Half-Life 2, The Combine, you can't identify each individual one of those, they're just there to kill and be killed. So finally, events. This is split into 4 different types. Fully plotted, which is a pure story, so you might get a lot of cutscenes, things like that. At the other end of the spectrum is no kernel, which is pure games such as Pac-Man. It might have what some people might call implicit narrative, but some people argue that that isn't a thing and it doesn't really count, such as Aarseth. And then in the middle we've got dynamic satellites and dynamic kernels. Kernels are the events in the game that happen every time and define the story. They define a story by setting out. You have to have more than 2 kernels to form a story, and they happen every time. So in Cinderella, you might see that she loses a glass slipper and then gets home by midnight, that sort of thing. Dynamic satellites are user affected events, so things that don't happen every time, that the player might influence, such as he might walk past an item one level or go pick it up the next, or you might decide to take a different route on multiple routes, like different choices, things like that. If a user cannot influence satellites, then Aarseth argues that it isn't a game. So that basically describes everything here. What I'm going to ask you to do later on in the questionnaire is you'll ask to pick one from each column that describes your favourite game, and then you'll be asked to list them in order of importance to you, and that means world, objects, agents and events. So if your game was an open landscape, such as Skyrim maybe, you'd click open landscape, and that was the most important thing to you, you'd list that first. Then if characters was the most important thing to you, with dip, reach, round characters, then you'd put that second, and so on. That concludes this presentation. If you check the comments of this YouTube video, you'll find a link to my questionnaire, and I'll be very, very grateful if you would fill that out. Thank you very much. You can, if you would like to find out more about my dissertation, feel free to email me. My emails at the start of this presentation is admin@oliverhart.co.uk. Thank you very much, and goodbye.